Welcome to Warrior Park for Women's Super League action. It's round 19. It is the pointy end of the season. The title race coming right down to the wire. And the Olympia Warriors level on points with the Hobart Zebras. With just 2 weeks of action remaining, they will want to dial up the pressure on them with a victory here this afternoon and take it to the final day. Although, given the high likelihood of a win tomorrow for the Zebras over South, a point may well be enough for Olympia today. Certainly that won't be what they're targeting, though, as they take on a Kingborough team that has given them a pretty tough run on a few occasions this season. Paul Hunt, you've seen a bit of the Lions this year. What are you expecting today from this one?
Yeah, they've been one of the teams who have challenged Olympia the most, despite being in 4th place on the league. The only real sort of game that Olympia had control over them this year was their 5-2 win here earlier in the league season, but they had that famous cup semi-final cup set against the Warriors down at Lightwood Park. And unfortunately, they have lost a couple of key members of their side in the last few weeks, especially with Zoe Horgan going off overseas, which is a big loss. But I saw them last week down at Ulverston, and they still played with good pace, good pressing. Really tried to get, not quite, obviously weren't going to win the physical battle against Ulverston, but they kept them alert and only lost by the odd goal. So they'll certainly be up for this one, as the Warriors, well, as you mentioned, a win or a draw is enough to keep them in the title race here today. I do agree. I think they will go out for the win to get some confidence going into that, what looks like crucial final game of the season, as we have a look at the Warriors lineup. Olivia Bomford, both Chambers starting today, both Maddie and Charlotte. Bonnie Davies will be out on a wing. Jenna Farrer in goals. Sophie Lazinski will be at the heart of defence, obviously losing her companion back there, Maddie Black, as well in recent weeks. Innie Michael, Raf Purley will probably see at right back. Heather Russell, Phoebe Teal and Jade Williams rounding out that lineup. They have a lot of versatile players, the Warriors. They can mix and match in different positions, so we'll see how they end up lining up here this afternoon as the players are out for the coin toss at the moment. A very windy day here at Warrior Park. No rain or snow that we've had plenty of here in Hobart throughout the past week, but breeze is certainly blowing over. We've had a couple of near sandstorms come across from the car park in the Challenge League game earlier on, and let's hope it dies down a tad as we'll move on to the Kingborough Lions lineup. Phoebe Clifford will probably play in the centre of the park. Isabel Dadswell, their star striker Laura Davis, who was playing very much a lonely target role last week. Let's hope she gets a bit more support here on this occasion. Isabel de Smet will have Olivia Gardner in goals. Paris Menadue gets a start. Christabella Moore, Amy Ollington. It's a very, very youthful lineup of the Kingborough Lions. Natalie Rubikova, Emil Tatton and Sammy Watkins rounding out the starting 11. And we're nearly ready to go here, Andrew.
Yeah, very youthful lineup. Certainly that experienced core. Horgan was missing that game. They lost over here at Warrior Park. I think 5-2 that one might have ended. Only really once out of the 4 times they've met this year have the Warriors got away from them. They've otherwise been pretty close games, but those ones have all been down at the Den here at Warrior Park. They did it pretty comfortably, and Horgan was out of the outfit that day. So we'll see if that repeats. Certainly Olympia, a team very much on a mission today. They know they need to take care of business here to take it into that final day, and they should have every confidence going into the final day, but they're on the defensive early on here as Tatton threatens to get in behind. Just holds it up and it'll be behind for the game's first corner. But after the way they dismantled the Zebras the last time they met, I think they've got to be full of belief if it does get to that final day scenario like we're expecting. It was pretty comprehensively done. Obviously playing at KG5 changes things a little bit, but given the way Chambers got in behind on this smaller pitch, to imagine that she might even be even more so of a factor on the wider expanses at KG5. It's the Lions with the first set-piece opportunity of the day here. It's bent in. This one should be dealt with by Michael. Quite clear the area though, and Bomford comes across to apply the defensive pressure. Nice work from Tatton. Just swinging it back in. Oh, mistiming the volley there at the back post will allow the Warriors to clear, but a sharp start so far here from the Kingborough Lions as Chambers wins the throw-in for a side.
Yeah, they're starting off promising here, the Lions. So I do agree the Warriors do prefer the wider expansive grounds, especially when they play at North Hobart Oval as well, another ground where they can get Davies and Chambers in on goal, and it's when they struggled with a few weeks ago here against Ulverston, just providing that killer finish once they do get those chances where they can get Davies and Chambers running in the wide areas as the throw-in's taken to Bomford. Back out to Purely. It looks like Innie Michaels dropped back into centre-back here today. Usually see it in a midfield role, covering that spot where Maddie Black used to play, and she'll receive the ball now. Back to Lazinski. As we see with the Warriors, always looking to keep possession as Teal tries to find Charlotte Chambers to no avail, and now it's Davis looking to launch the counter, but well tackled there from Innie Michael. Manages to find Williams. Davies darting inside, and she'll get the lofted through ball. Bonnie Davies still onside as Davies hits it first time, but just wide of the mark from Bonnie Davies. That's the kind of positions the Warriors like to get herself and Chambers in. Decided to take it first time rather than taking it a bit closer to the keeper. Maybe just trying to use the wind to swerve it into the top corner. A good early sider for the Warriors as well. As Gardner will take the goal kick short. A lot of room to move down on the sideline for the Lions, and it's turned over to Davies, whose pass eventually end up for a throw. Purely to take, heavy touch from Bomford. Michael does well to return it to Bomford. Now out to Teal, looks up, spies the run of Chambers, who's come across to the left wing, but drops it short to Williams. It's turned over, and now back to Maddie Chambers. Down the line for Williams. Williams tries to get the cross in. Can't beat the first defender. Falls to Chambers and then runs out of real estate. And the Warriors now really trying to take control and get a foothold on this game early.
Yeah, opening couple of exchanges played down their defensive end, but since then, looking the more threatening side. Davies with the only real chance of the game thus far as the Lions look to build from the back here, but they've turned it straight over to Olympia Bomford. Pocket of space here, and she just jinks in centrally, as she so often does, just operating between the lines, but they've coughed it up to Tatton here, just showing a little bit too much of it though to Lazinski. Sophie Lazinski settles it down and swings it out towards the pacey Bonnie Davies. We want to turn onto her right. That's exactly what she does. And you get in behind here, Davies, and now puts in a cross. Stumped behind. It wasn't a particularly threatening cross, but a nice little spin move. She loves to bring out Bonnie Davies. It's a pretty strong wind they're kicking into in this first half too, Olympia. You can see the impact on the corner flag down there, really howling through. So they look to try and build from the right here. Russell centres it. There was Bomford. Now Maddie Chambers, a real star of this Olympia team. She turns onto the left and almost picks out the back post. Dangerous ball across the face. Not sure if it was a shot or a cross. Either way, not too far away from Chambers. And the early threats continue from the Warriors.
Definitely think it was a shot from Maddie Chambers, just looking for that bottom corner. Charlotte Chambers looking to make the most of any rebound off the post or just to sneak it in. A sighter for the Warriors early on. Gardner will take straight to the feet of Bonnie Davies, but whose touch eludes it temporarily. Watkins got in, but the 2-10's going at it as Davies still going down the line, just keeping the ball in play. Looking it back to Russell. Purely. Bit of space to run into, but Jinx inside, beats two, tries to find Chambers to no avail. The ball will roll out harmlessly through a throw. Purely to take. Nicely to the feet of Russell, who lays it to Bomford striding forward. Can she find an option? She can't. We'll go to Williams. Chambers in some space on the left. Maddie Chambers looking to run at the Lions' defence. What about the byline? Cuts in, putting all the moves out. Here's Maddie Chambers, crosses the ball in. Chambers again nearly there of the Charlotte variety. Now, back to Maddie Chambers. Now Teal Lions staying very compact here at the moment. That's a lovely ball. Out to Davies. Times across if she wants it. Hits the byline, but well cleared. Eventually there from Menadue, who's certainly got quite the task on her hands this afternoon. Coming into the lineup.
Doing all the attacking here, Olympia, is swinging a corner. You can see the impact of the wind on that one. Back all the way to Bomford. Takes a moment to settle it down, so just opting to retreat back instead, and one back by Laura Davis doing the defensive work. The line striker, but she's cuffed it straight up to Innocent Michael. And goes back to Lazinski. Reset along the back, under some pressure from Davis as she retreats to Farrow. Back to Lazinski. Seeing a lot she likes, and then just cuffs it up rather softly in to Rubikova. Fairly aimless ball, that one, too. Phoebe Clifford able to cut it out. Chambers just looking to work her off it. Lions now trying to work it to Davis and Tatton there. Real keys in attack, and Tatton with a chance to put a cross in here. And Michael skews the clearance dangerously over the crossbar. A lack of control over that one. That could very easily have ended up in the back of the net.
Had it covered, had it covered. There's an absolute shank from Minnie Michael. Very relieved look on her face, as well as the Olympia fans in the crowd when that one hit the roof of the net. As the Lions will have their second corner. De Smet strides over to take. Good numbers in the box for the Lions. A lofted ball over the head, coming in at the back post. Just managed to clear out of the way. It was Dadswell coming in from left back. And now Davies. Doesn't have a lot of options, but has one in Chambers. Knocks it back to Bomford. Just missing the feet of Davies on that occasion. Rubikova clears. Will now be Tatton. Beaten now by Teal. Williams. Dadswell manages to clear defeat. It's end up with Laura Davis trying to roll Lazinski, and she does, using her pace. Laura Davis gets past Michael. Jinx back inside. Davis still going here. Laura Davis gets the shot off, and her own teammate gets in the way in the end. She's beaten two Warriors players all ends up and whacks it into the back of a teammate.
Yeah, Amy Ollington not really doing any favours there, running directly into the path of the shot. It was a fine run from Davis. Well and truly getting the better of Michael. No easy task, but looking on so far in this one as nice composed work out from the back, initially by Lazinski before Teal coughs it up. Lazinski looking for Chambers. More battling away in midfield for the Lions. It'll spill out front for Charlotte Chambers. Now Bomford, the playmaker of this side, just let it get away from her, but now retain possession of the ball easily enough here, purely. And quite content just to recycle it out there to Jenna Farrow. Optimistically donning the cap here, I would say, at the moment, looking at the cloud cover, but he's hoping it is a vindicated decision as Chambers sends it wide. Williams gets a toe in. The pressure's on, and in the end, foul spotted by the referee. A free kick going the Lions' way, leaving a little bit of the pressure on De Smet. Playing with Clifford centrally today for the Lions, with no Manuela out there, as we mentioned. A tough one to cover. Menadue won't be able to get to that one.
I'm absolutely loving that someone from the Warriors faithfuls decided to do a bit of landscaping behind the ground while the game is going on. I can't quite use the peak NPL hashtag here, given it's WSL, but I'm all about a bit of landscaping going on behind the goals mid-game.
I'm being informed the tree's been broken. It's player safety. You don't want the high winds blowing it onto the pitch.
No, very sensible. It was purely clears it out to Bomford. Tries to find Davies down the wing and look at the sprint, but a bit too heavy a touch there from Davies. Not even she can gather that one. Now it'll be Gardner taking the safer option and going short. I think that's going to be the better option here this afternoon. Good space out wide for Dadswell to move into. She decides to hit it first time. Coming across is Lazinski, but Tatton getting in the way, and it's Tatton tried to roll it to Davies, but just got it caught between her feet. Bomford now to get the attack going the other way. Davies at halfway, leaping in the air, ends up trying to turn around Menadue. She does eventually. Still running down the line is Davies. Heading towards the byline, has two in the box to aim for. One of them is Chambers, and Gardner just gets down in time to take off the toe of Charlotte Chambers. Back, Bomford scrapping away in the centre of the park with Watkins. Watkins with not a great deal of options, tries to find Davies, ends up falling to her. Thought she could have hit that first time. Michael coming across, using her body well, and knocks it out for a throw-in as well. That's well done there from Minnie Michael. I thought Laura Davis' eyes would light up, spotting the keeper off her line slightly. As we look at that save again from Gardner. Got down very well to take it off the toe. That's the flick on from Tatton. Now Davis in the box, heavy touch at the worst possible moment. Chasing back is Tatton. Good ball out towards Russell, who'll leave it for Davies. Now wants to play the 1-2. Good work there from the Warriors. Davies gets past another. Bonnie Davies running into the box. Will she do it all herself or find a teammate? She tries to do it herself. Eventually, Menadue came back to cover, and it's then clattered afterwards. There's very good defence there from Menadue.
Yeah, maybe Davies just running at a pace that she Wayne couldn't quite keep up with there. Just needed to stop and wait and make the decision. He absolutely flew into the box and went, hang on, what do we do with it? Couldn't find a teammate or produce the cross she's after. To do a little bit better, I'd have thought there, Davies, but gee, she's causing some problems early on with her pace out wide. Got in behind on 3 occasions already. I reckon there's a few alarms going off for the Lions. It's going to be an area they need to clamp down on. Could very easily prove their undoing in this one. Jenna Farrow untroubled thus far. To Lazinski. Bomford immediately returning it. In the end, throw in as they slowly build from the back here. Really pushing the tempo too much. The build up from the back, the Warriors. So they look to go back to the top of the Super League table ahead of the Zebras game with South Hobart tomorrow morning. Before the two sides will meet next weekend in looming as a mini grand final type setup for the Super League crown in 2019. Clearly the two dominant sides of the season. A little bit sloppy there from the Lions. Purely with the throw in. Russell. Back across now to Bomford. And Lazinski. Carefully and slowly building from the back here, Olympia. Now they try and pull the trigger and make something happen through the wheels of Davies, who goes low to the near post. Charlotte Chambers was there, didn't make any great contact though. Comfortably picked up by Gardner.
Comfortably wasn't quite the word I was thinking of there for that collect from Gardner, but the save was made nonetheless. As unfortunately, the clearance doesn't quite fall to anyone in particular. Just the spin of the ball there causing a little bit of issue.
And eternity though.
True. It was purely at about 3/4 of a foot inside the field of play there, taking that throw in. This time, just keeps it in play again. Trying to work with Davies to get it out of the tight confines of that part of Warrior Park, and they eventually have. Out to Teal. Heavy touch. Allows Dadswell the opportunity to get a toe in. Chambers operating very, very deep here for the moment. Back to Lazinski, well pressured by Davies. Now to Michael. Kingborough continuing to keep players high up and looking to press in areas like this, as we see Tatton up against Chambers. Chambers skips past one, skips past another. Wants to play the ball through to Charlotte Chambers, but can't on this occasion. Bomford. You could see what she was trying to do there. Davies was eagerly waiting in about 15 yards of space. Pulei's now backed into a bit of a corner with Hollington on her tail. Farrow's clearance will just about fall to Bomford. Davis, I thought, was coming back from an offside position there, but not called by the AR. Now Teal looks up, wins the throw in. Doesn't win the throw in for her side in the front of the canteen. Davis. Good ball out towards Ollington, whose heavy touch almost ended up as a shot. I'm not sure if we give that a shot on target or not.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not?
No.
It's good to see the canteen open here for a WSL game at Warrior Park. The last 3 have left games I've been here. It hasn't been open. It's left myself and a few other patrons very unhappy. Good to see that happening today as Chambers knocks it through to Williams. Staying on side is Jade Williams and shoots, but right at the chest of Gardner.
I would have thought the cross into Charlotte Chambers probably the option on that occasion, rather than trying to sneak that one in top bins at the near post. As Gardner proved up to the task and threatening to get him behind here, but a heavy ball. And that's really been the role Farrow's been cast in the opening 20 minutes. The sweeper keeping type role, just mopping up at the back, hasn't really been called into action. Game quite reaching any great heights so far through the first 20. Olympia knowing what they need to do. The Lions out to play spoiler. And they're certainly more than capable of doing that with players like Tatton and Davis who combine here. Teal got a foot in to disrupt. Now Maddie Chambers just skipping past her marker and then continuing the run upfield, drawing a crowd, and then got rather pushed in the back. Free, not signalling advantage, but one develops anyway. Williams able to keep going, goes back to Chambers. Driving to the byline, Chambers. Can she put a cross of quality in? She can, and Bonnie Davies squanders it. Volleys it wide, unmarked there. Brilliant play from Maddie Chambers down the left. Just waited and waited, then produced the perfect ball. But Davies couldn't quite find the perfect finish.
That's exactly how the Warriors like to play. Right down the wing, get it to the opposite winger to bang home at the back post. And unfortunately, Davies just couldn't hit the target on that occasion. It's fantastic play, and one goal forthcoming that probably the Warriors deserve for their possession so far, as Davies now will have a run down the wing herself. Due for company, just pushes her out of the way, delves into the box looking for Chambers, who was waiting on the 18-yard line. Hollington with a good curling ball, but just splits her two teammates. Lazinski striding forward. Williams, Chambers in acres of space. She stays on side as Maddie Chambers takes a touch. Chambers manages to slot it through at the near post. Gardner thought she had her angles covered, but Maddie Chambers opens the scoring for the Warriors.
Yeah, so often this season it's been Maddie Chambers who has been the one to ignite them. Having watched a chance she set up moments ago go to waste, she said, I'm just going to do this myself on this occasion. Picks the spot at the near post. Gardner didn't quite have the angle covered, although at the end of the day she was allowed to carry the ball all the way into the 6-yard box, and makes no mistake there, Maddie Chambers. And that'll be a real relieving goal for the Warriors, especially given that a draw is a perfectly fine result for them today. We'll just give them that added safety blanket that they've essentially got 2 goals to play with now, Paul.
Certainly will. As the Lions, though, kept fighting back against Olvie last week. It's a real seesawing battle down there at the Den, so they're not they're used to coming back from behind on occasions, are the Lions. Pick the ball up in the centre of the park. Moore trying to have a run at the Warriors. Now Bomford searching ball in the Davies direction. Gardner will comfortably collect. Assesses her options and rolls it short. Charlotte Chambers coming across with the press. Now Bomford looks up and spots the goal scorer in Chambers, running at Isabel Dadswell. Maddie Chambers just sizing their opponent up. Wants to hit the byline and does. Chambers looking for an option in the box, but just at an awkward height there for her teammates. Roll out for a throw in. Just need to keep that one a bit more on the ground. Did Chambers. And just when the Warriors had finally got rid of the commentator's nightmare of Black passing to Blackman, we've now just got two Chambers in the lineup. And there's Bomford running at the defence. Olivia Bomford looking to do it all herself. Bomford still going. Bomford shoots and just hits it over the top. Managed to wriggle away from three Lions players there. Wasn't too far away at all there from Bomford.
I reckon she might have got fingertips to this, Gardner. I'll have a look on the replay. No. Not quite. Thought she was doing the wonderful goalkeeping bluff where you just turn and look, oh yeah, goal kick. No need to claim credit for that one.
Just claim credit for it later.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best feeling. You get the best result for your team and the save. But I don't think she did quite get to that one. Just thought maybe the fingers bent back a little, but a bit too much elevation on, and the Warriors really grinding their way on top of this one now. And unsurprisingly, it's been out wide where the damage is being done. In particular, Madison Chambers once again just doing what she's done all season, and she just keeps going past defenders. Beats another two here, swings in across. Attacking it was purely pushing up there. The fullback couldn't quite get to it. But just week after week, doesn't matter who she's matched up against, routinely leaves them in her wake. Maddie Chambers, such a key in this Warriors side in 2019. Real weapon in attack as a goal scorer and in particular as a real creator. Just forges chance after chance. As Bomford gets on the ball. Oh, couldn't quite find the teammate. Now a counter-attack on here for the Lions. Nice little run this one from Moore. Swings it across. Retreat back again to Christabella Moore. Mining with Watkins. Moore, but by the time they finally got the ball in the box, plenty of bodies win there, but they're going to get the free kick anyway, so a good result in the end for Kingborough.
Yeah, they did look a bit static, and I think the Warriors knew what their outlet was, which was try and pass it to Laura Davis at every possible opportunity, which is a good one, but it seemed a little bit too predictable in that occasion, but they've ended up with a free kick. A very promising area of the Lions. I think who's going to take this? It looks like Rubikova.
Yep. And Rubikova will just finesse this one over the bar. There's a very strong wind behind her, and that one just took a hold of that ball, carried it well over the top. Always over the top on that occasion.
Probably wanted it a bit further out as well to try and get it up over the wall and under the crossbar as well, even on a less windy day than what we have here at Warrior Park. Michael plays it out to Pewley. Russell immediately gets the ball taken off her. Now Charlotte Chambers back to Russell. And Davies. I want to keep possession, will the Warriors. Teal is finally in some space on the left-hand side. It's Tatton coming across to block the angle. Again, getting a foot in is Tatton. Still going. There's Emil Tatton looking for Davies. And Teal battling with Rubikova. Chambers comes back to collect. Now Chambers again. Tries to spin away from Dadswell. Ball stayed in play in the Bermuda quadrangle from our position here. Right below us at the Warrior Park stand. Throw in. Taken down the line only as far as Teal. Battling away with Tatton. Teal shielding the ball well, and Lazinski eventually just sick of seeing it in the defensive area and whacks it clear. Yeah, Maddie Chambers certainly doing enough to add a few more things to a highlight reel here so far this afternoon in the opening 25 minutes. He's probably the Warriors' best player so far this year, and fortunately just some games this year they just haven't quite found the amount of goals that the Zebras have as well, putting them in this predicament they face at the moment, needing to beat the Zebras next week.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting battle between the two. It did seem after Olympia won that game over the Zebras here that they'd be the ones in the driver's seat with that edge in the final day, but they slipped up against Ulverston, and the Zebras just came through a difficult month, twice playing Kingborough, twice playing Ulverston with flying colours, took 10 points from those games, and that was the key. They really did well twice in that month, coming back from 3-0 down as the electric Bonnie Davies coming into the box. gets back up and wins the ball. Doing it comfortably out there, Davies, as she rolls it back to her fullback Purely. Now Bomford. Shut down well by Watkins. Now Wellington. Watkins. Surrounded by blue shirts, so just stops to knock it wide. Again, Ollington back on the ball. But not really going anywhere with it here for the time being, Kingborough.
No, they're not, and just the Warriors, they've had such a settled line-up with the same few players. It's just been that number 9 position where they've lacked a bit of consistency this year, with Josie Mamich going down very early on in the season. The season-ending knee injury, and they've tried about, I reckon, 6 different players up top so far, the Warriors, and it's been good enough to get them within reach of the title, but possibly under different circumstances they could already have it sewn up. The amount of goals scored, as that one will roll harmlessly to Gardner. Just having Davies and Chambers on the wing, they've had to both try and assist and score at the same time, and they've lent on them a fair bit this season.
It's been rare this year when I've walked away from an Olympia Super League game not thinking Maddie Chambers has been the best player out on the pitch. Just been an absolute joy to watch this year, and I'll be shocked if she's not heavily featured come medal night, getting a little bit of hardware, because I think she's been the dominant player of the season. Probably Ali Berry from the Zebras, the other one who springs to mind in terms of players who've made a real impact and been the very best. But for mine, hard to look past Chambers. She's just been the model of consistency. And done in the big games too.
Yeah.
That display against the Hobart Zebras last time they met.
And the only other one I'm thinking of was Zoe Nichols of Zebras, who probably had a quieter last couple of weeks, but prior to that, in the first 2/3 of the season, was on par with Ali Berry as the best player for the Zebras side.
Yeah, had an excellent year. Zoe Nichols really found a level of consistency and routine, starting week in, week out. Obviously, the season before she didn't, but really settled down and has had a fantastic year. I agree. This one's chipped in. That's a dangerous looking ball. Farrow came, didn't get there, and then it just bounced a bit too steeply in the end at the back stick there for Ollington. It was a teasing delivery and a rare mistake there from Farrow, just misjudging it. She has made a right call with the cap, given the sun's broken back out, but still didn't quite track that one.
Oh, I was about to say, she's clearly a better weather forecaster than myself, is Jenna Farrow, adopting the cap early on, but didn't quite come in handy on that occasion. Just misjudging the flight of that one. I just don't think Ollington was expecting it to get up and over the keeper like that, to be honest. As the Warriors now out through Teal. Chambers is there on the wing, but tries to go inside to Williams. Come back from the Lions with Tatton, who should play it to Davies early, but is now surrounded by blue shirts, one of whom is Teal. Clipping at the heels there is Tatton. Eventually concedes the foul on what is now a gloriously sunny afternoon here at Warrior Park. Wazinski will take it short. Chambers was offering up top, but Teal elects to recycle it out through defence. Innie Michael, a lovely ball to Davies. Holds up just nicely, and Davies runs inside and beats one. Tries to get the ball in. Heavy challenge in the end there from the Lions defender. That'll now see the Warriors have a free kick in a dangerous position. You get the ball there to start with, the Lions player, but it was a fairly interesting style of challenge that probably led the referee to give that one. And now Bomford is well within range here to try and pick out a spot past Gardner. Maybe just a tad too close to the 18-yard line for what most free kick takers like. There is certainly a nice gap up and over a fairly short Lions wall as Bomford takes the free kick, and Gardner and it ends up in the back of the net. Bomford makes it 2 for the Warriors. Gardner, I thought, had that one covered, but just through the hands into the back of the net, and that is the Warriors' the bigger advantage here this afternoon. And it looks like, even though they only need a draw, it looks like they're on the way to a victory.
Yeah, it would seem they're on their way to 3 points based off this first half hour here. That's one Gardner would like to have back. Just got across to it and just slipped between her fingers. It was well taken by Bomford to get it down and on target, as you mentioned, very close to the line. Can often make that difficult, but just opted to get it on target. Gardner needs to be just tipping that one over the top, through the fingers instead. The free kick blown here in favour of Maddie Chambers. He's all smiles out there at the moment, just enjoying things with a 2-0-0 lead. It's a position of considerable strength, and especially I think we've seen the absence of Zoe Horgan in this midfield. Going to be tough for them to get back without her driving the play. Although did compete pretty well against Ulverston last week down at the Den, and certainly have shown this year the ability to fight back. But off the first 30 minutes, the Warriors doing it pretty comfortably at the moment as Christabella Moore comes through and will win the throw for her side.
It was noticeable last week, the absence of Zoe Horgan against Ulvie, just tracking the runs of Georgia King going through the midfield, and they sort of had their own way there for a little while, did Ulvie, and it seems to be happening again this afternoon with Bomford showing off skill like that, nearly playing in Davies. Just having a bit more time on the ball. The Warriors centre mids and just able to spray passes out wide. As Moore loses it out to Pewley. Bomford again turning on it. All the way back to the keeper. Davis doing a lot of running off the ball up top for the Lions this afternoon. Hasn't had a great deal of service in an attacking sense so far. Tatton as well had a good duel with Phoebe Teal and wins out on this occasion. Lovely pass in the direction of Ollington. It's just managed to be intercepted by Pewley. Chambers is off and running. If Williams can find her, will the touchline evade her? It will. You could see the intent there from Maddie Chambers. Throw in to Rubikova. Eventually turned over by the Lions. Under a great deal of pressure. Teal stealing a few yards and trying to get it to Chambers, who's turned it over. Just not quite on the same wavelength on the Lions in the counter. Now Williams, well, wanted to go all the way back to Michael, but just lays it straight to Laura Davis, who's now going to run at the defence as Davis tries to play in Ollington. Purely coming across. First time shot from Rubikova right into the lap of Jenna Farrett. Probably the first real save she's had to make in 34 minutes from Farrett. Now Michael. Just doing it all herself from centre-back at the moment is Innie Michael. Beaten 2 so far. Going a FIFA-style run there. The centre-back out to Chambers. One-on-one with Dadswell. Teal on the overlap. Waiting for the runner. Chambers almost toying with the Lions defenders at the moment. Tries to spray it out to Teal, who's quite kept it in, but I believe it's out for a throw. Down in the corner. Here at Warrior Park, Williams stands strong. Ball into the box, cleared by Clifford. Lions really with backs to the wall here at the moment. Will probably do well to only be 2-0 down at half time. Throw in to Williams. First time shot from Russell. It might fall to Chambers in the box. Charlotte Chambers tries to turn and shoot. Clifford gets a toe in. Now Bomford beats 1. Beats 2, does Olivia Bomford. Trying to beat a third, and good challenge in the end. Last ditch defending. There by the Lions. Davis tries to go the nutmeg. Flying in. Purely manages to take it. Now Bomford. Still going Olivia Bomford. The Lions just cannot get it out of their defence at the moment. Clifford finds a teammate. Striding forward is more. Ollington on the left-hand side. That's the direction she goes. But Farrow reading the Lions players' eyes. Just staring at them like a linebacker eyeing off a quarterback and seeing where they're going to pass it. And had that one covered. They just cannot get it out of their defensive half at the moment, the Lions.
Yeah, just being boxed in a little, aren't they? Olympia with this game well and truly in their pocket. A 2-0 lead and very much controlling proceedings as Teal carry it down the left. Almost runs straight into Chambers there. Just looking for the forward run from a winger, wasn't forthcoming. Emil Tatton has probably looked the liveliest for the Lions, and she just gets absolutely cleaned up by Olivia Bomford there. And she'll be coming off worse for wear after that one. And that doesn't look good, unfortunately, for Emil Tatton. It's immediately gone down. Hasn't really moved since. It was a fairly solid shirt front there, really, from Olivia Bomford.
That's the exact phrase I was trying to think of there, shirt front. It was running into a brick wall on that occasion and still staying down. Both sides will take the opportunity to have a drinks break. Seeing that this is probably going to be an opportunity where the player's going to be down for a little while. All the necessary checks by the physio being done at the moment, but just a bit of a lull in play here at the moment, and it does not look good. Let's have a look at the goals in the meantime. Kingborough on the bench have got Claire Edwards and Ellie Lawson to bring on, just the two subs today for the Lions. Well, those two, you'd probably think Lawson would be the most likely to come on, should Tatton have to come off. Fortunately, stretch it does look ready to go, so we'll see a fair bit of stoppage time here as well. Crowd building nicely for this almost rare triple header of senior games in a row. Had the Challenge League on earlier, followed by the Women's Super League, and then the NPL game on afterwards. Good to see Tatton. He's back upright for the moment. Davis wanting some clarification on the shirt front from the referee.
James Hamilton, our man, it was certainly having an arrival code. Would be getting the book out and get how many weeks. But yeah, Tatton appears to be recovering, which is good to see. Hopefully she'll be all right to continue. It was a very, very firm bump there from Bomford. Tatton back on her feet, which is good to see, because she has looked aside the most likely player in attack, really. Has gotten past defenders on a few occasions, and one of the few lines that's really made things happen out there for a side today. Olympia fairly untroubled for the most part.
It was a free kick given there, or will it be a drop ball?
I would suggest this is going to be a drop ball. Just judging by the way it was Hamilton setting up here.
Doesn't look like it'll be a contested one.
Davis will just roll it back there. Might have felt team deserved a free and might have just thought about the shot from the drop ball there. Wouldn't that have been a controversial one?
Just the outside of the foot volley in the top corner there. Wouldn't put it past her in that situation. Lazinski directing traffic, only firing it right into the foot of Davis in the end, but does win a side of throw. Down the line towards Chambers. It's clipped from behind by Dadswell. Comes up with a smirk on her face. It says Chambers.
That's how you're going to stop me, is it? Might be the only way to stop her.
He'll rake down the Achilles trick.
A pretty good job initially there, Dadswell, but then, yeah, just came unstuck. Davies. Up to Purley. Now Bomford. And Russell. Across to Davies again. They take it wide, and Davies looks to use her pace to get him behind here. And they will get the corner as a result of it. Just trying to get him behind a Menadue there. No. In fact, a goal kick.
No.
Didn't do well at all. Not sure what I was watching.
I was going to try and bail you out there saying the AR was overruled by the centre ref, but he clearly went for a goal kick, so I can't even do that, unfortunately. As Gardner Sprays it out wide. No real press there from the Warriors on the goal kick. Just letting the Lions have a bit of territory. Davis controls it well. There's 2 Warriors players to beat. Up against Lazinski is Davis. 2 in the box. Still going herself, Laura Davis. Nearly finds Ollington. And another miscued clearance will just about be rescued by Farrow. She'll use up all of her allotted time here, Farrow. Probably the first long clearance from the back of the day for the Warriors team. Played it out short pretty much every other time. Still going is Moore. Davis holding her run nicely, but Teal coming across from the blind side and challenging well. Still going. The Lions up against Lazinski, and the old dummy trick didn't work that well on that occasion. It'll be a goal kick. Well, that was a dummy cross. But on that occasion, we're all out for a goal kick, and another coming together in the centre of the park there. It was more down on the wing. There's Rubikova challenging, managing to win the side of throw. That's well to take in the Davis direction. Haven't seen Tatton return to the field yet, I don't think.
Playing a player down for the time being here are the Kingborough Lions as Christabella Moore looks at the cross. Cross comes in straight to Winnie Michael. He punches a low clearance straight to Moore. Moore just played a poor ball for Ollington. Did her no favours. Charlotte Chambers. Sweeping back across was Dadswell, and now DeSmit. Retreat to Gardner. And she's shown too much of that to Bonnie Davies, who in a moment just to bring her under a spell and then goes looking for either Chambers. Maddie picks it up in the end and turns onto the left. She's got time and space here, Chambers, and you can't give her that type of room in the box. She hammers it home. There was only ever going to be one result when they let her turn onto the left like that. She picks out the top corner and says, "Thank you very much."
Yeah, she was running at the defence there and stopped, and everyone just seemed to move backwards, and it just ended up with a good 2-3 yards of space there for Chambers. Just turned and everyone set off, looked up and went, "I've got time to shoot here," and then just puts one top bins. Because why not when you're Maddie Chambers?
You do not back off Maddie Chambers in that fashion. Maddie's just asking to concede.
As we've said, she's been probably the most impressive player in the competition this year. And there's another example why, as it does look like Kingborough are forced to make a sub, and my 50-50 guess of who that sub would be was proven incorrect. It's Claire Edwards coming on. Millie Lawson, a defender for the Lions, but I could have seen them shifting them around potentially. That substitution is confirmed, so I hope Neil Tatton injury isn't too serious, as Maddie Chambers just pulling out a few more tricks from her bag here and lays it back to Pewley. Ollington's press on Pewley has been pretty good here today. They've not allowed the fullback too much space to bomb forward and overlap with Davies. Now Russell sprays it out of defence into stoppage time in this first half. We'll probably have, I reckon that injury was probably 3 minutes plus the goals. Bomford striding forward. The 2 number 9s going at it. Moore pressing her well, but then slightly losing the marker and now rolled into Teal. Up against giving Dadswell a new opponent. Teal cuts back on the right and lays it back to Chambers, who again has a fair bit of space. Low ball cleared by the Lions. Now Williams. Out to Chambers. Trying to send Teal on a run, and that's a lovely ball from Maddie Chambers as she got a little too much sauce on it. She has, was the right idea just to slide it between the 2 Lions players.
If it was to herself, I reckon she would have got there. Fortunately, not everyone has her pace, or Davies maybe. Teal not quite with the same burst of speed. Trying to track that one down. Couldn't quite get there in time. I reckon you're right. I reckon we're in for a few added minutes here as Gardner looking to play that one wide. 3-0. It's been Pretty comfortable first half here for the Warriors, and it looks like we are set for that big showdown next week between Zebras and Warriors for the Super League title. The Warriors will be hoping South Hobart can do them a big favour tomorrow, but I think that's probably pretty unlikely. You can imagine they're going to need a win next week, as Davies has just got in routinely behind the fullback, and she swings one in for Charlotte Chambers. Couldn't quite find her. Maddie Chambers is back to collect. Will she take on Dadswell? Instead opts to cross instead. Bomford with a little bit of room. She turns and swings one on the left, on the right rather, but easily dealt with by Gardner. And that will be that for the first half here at Warrior Park. Pretty comfortable stuff for the hosts. A 3-0 lead playing into the wind. And you'd have to say things looking pretty good for their title prospects as they head to halftime with a comfortable lead in tow, Paul Hunt.
Yeah, pretty comfortable work there from the Warriors in this first half. Potential banana skin game. We were obviously talking in pre-game about how Lions have got a victory over them in the Cup and some good contests in the league, but it really has been one-way traffic so far in this first half. Maddie Chambers, an absolute standout down the left wing. They've kept the ball, large majority of possession of the Warriors, really played the game on their terms, and they're probably deserving of a 3-0 lead going in to half-time, and they'll probably expect more of the same in the second. To be a bit ambitious to say they're going to catch up any realistic amount of goal difference on the Zebras, but wanting to build the confidence heading into the likely de facto grand final match next week against the Zebras. But do join us for the second half in about 10 minutes or so, and we'll see what the Warriors and Lions can dish up then.
The defensive pressure, nice work from Tatton. Just swinging it back in. Oh, mistiming the volley.
Just to find Williams. Davies darting inside, and she'll get the lofted through ball. Bonnie Davies still onside as Davies hits it first time, but just wide of the mark.
Davies will want to turn onto her right. That's exactly what she does. You get him behind here, Davies, and now puts in a cross. Stumped behind Maddie Chambers. Real star of this Olympia team. She turns onto the left and almost picks out the back post.
Here at the moment, that's a lovely ball. Out to Davies. Time to cross if she wants it. Hits the byline, but well cleared.
To Davis and Tatton there. Real keys in attack. And Tatton with a chance to put a cross in here. And Michael skews the clearance dangerously over the crossbar.
Roll Lazinski, and she does, using her pace. Laura Davis gets past Michael. Jinx back inside. Davis still going here. Laura Davis gets the shot off. And her own teammate gets in the way in the end. She's beaten Davies. Heading towards the byline. Has two in the box to aim for. One of them is Chambers, and Gardner just gets down in time to take off the toe.
Shooting from the back here, Olympia. Now they try and pull the trigger and make something happen through the wheels of Davies, who goes low to the near post. Charlotte Chambers was there. Didn't make any great contact, though.
Davis. Ball out towards Ollington, whose heavy touch almost ended up as a shot. I'm not sure. Chambers knocks it through to Williams. Staying on side is Jade Williams and shoots, but
skipping past her marker and then continuing the run upfield, drawing a crowd, and then rather driving to the byline. Chambers, can she put a cross of quality in? She can, and Bonnie Davies squanders it. Volleys
forward. Williams, Chambers in acres of space. She stays on side as Maddie Chambers takes a touch. Chambers manages to slot it through at the near post. Gardner thought she had her angles cut. It was Bomford running at the defence. Olivia Bomford looking to do it all herself. Bomford still going. Bomford shoots and just hits it over the top.
Chambers once again just doing what she's done all season, and she just keeps going past defenders. Beats another two here. Swings in across. Attacking it was Bella Moore. Mining with Watkins. Moore, but by the time they finally got the ball in the box, plenty of bodies. Rubikova will just finesse this one over the bar.
The other one I'm thinking of was Zoe Nichols of Zebras, who probably had a quieter last couple of
weeks. Has had a fantastic year, I agree. This one's chipped in. That's a dangerous looking ball. Farah Cames didn't get there, and then it just bounced a bit too steeply in the end at the back stick there for Ollington.
Up just nicely, and Davies runs inside and beats one. Tries to get the ball in. Heavy challenge over a fairly short Lions wall as Bomford Takes the free kick, and Gardner and it ends up in the back of the defence as Davis tries to play in Ollington. Purely coming across. First time shot from Rubikova.
It's Tatner's the live list for the Lions, and she just gets abs.
Line towards Chambers. It's clipped from behind.
He looks to use her pace to get him behind here. And they will get the corner.
Here's more. Davis holding her run nicely, but Teal coming across from the blind side and challenging well. Still going. The Lions up against Lazinski, and the old dummy trick didn't work.
Just to bring it under a spell, and then goes looking for either Chambers. Maddie picks it up in the end and turns onto the left. She's got time and space here, Chambers, and you can't give her that type of room in the box. She hammers it home. There was only ever going to be one result when they let her turn onto the left like that.
It's a Chambers. Trying to send Teal on a run, and that's a lovely ball from Maddie Chambers as she got a little too much sauce on it. She has.
They'll win next week as Davies has just got in routinely behind the fullback, and she swings one in for Charlotte Chambers. Couldn't quite find her. Maddie Chambers is back to collect. Will she take on the second half here at Warrior Park. The Olympia Warriors with a comfortable 3-goal lead over the Kingborough Lions. They did it pretty comfortably in the first half. They've got the wind at their backs here in the second. So I'd probably expect more of the same, but can Kingborough find a way to get back into this one and make life interesting? A free kick here, no. Watkins given nothing. Thought she was tripped up there, but so to get up and see if, despite the fact the wind's blowing the other way, whether this end continues to be the end where all the players are.
Yeah, we shall wait and see as Edwards takes the throw in. Davies, who after a very, very bright opening 15 minutes, we didn't see a whole lot of in that first half. It was the opposite winger, Chambers, taking all the acclaim, and on this occasion it's Charlotte Chambers chasing the ball down. Dadswell for company, back to Maddie Chambers. Wanted an option, didn't quite get one. Edwards giving safety first. Out for the throw-in. You mentioned that wind had died down at the end of that first half, but it's just picked up again a fair bit here. The fans in attendance well rugged up. Rugs galore out by the wet area. As Maddie Chambers knocks it back to Bomford. Thought about playing it to Purely, but instead we'll just go on another mazy run. The wall of white eventually gets in the way. Does have the confidence to take on a few players. Does Bomford. You might see a bit more of that in this second half. There's Teal down the line to Chambers. Dadswell doing a good job on this occasion. Warriors just settling into their familiar pattern of keeping possession of the ball. Jennifer has done away with a cap. There now she's swapped ends for this half. Purely. Couldn't quite link up with Russell well. Davies does well to win back possession, but now it's Lions with the chance to break. Purely to Davies. Into Jink inside. Wanted the offer short from Charlotte Chambers, but none was forthcoming. Rubikova out to Manaju. It's it right down the throat of the Warriors defenders. They'll knock it out wide through Teal to Williams. First time ball nearly getting through to Chambers. Well covered there from Dadswell, just keeping a couple of metres inside the runner and shutting off the angle. Gardner gets it long to Edwards. Slotted into the centre of the park here in this second half with Emil Tatton going off after about 40 minutes. Back to Gardner, the deflection coming off Chambers. The game settling into a pretty familiar pattern here at the start of this second half.
Yeah, quite similar to the first as this one's sent out wide. One back by Bonnie Davies. Looks to go past Clifford, couldn't do so on that occasion. Brought down by Bomford. Turning back onto her right. Mr. Bellamore has brought her down though, and that's going to be a spot kick. And no protest whatsoever from Bomford's opposite number Moore there. Realised she mistimed this one. And that's going to be the opportunity to make it 4-0 from the spot. Our linesman just perching himself in the worst possible spot for that replay, fair to say. But we had a pretty good view from up here. And I don't think there can be any arguments, Paul.
No, I had the hand out giving the penalty symbol immediately, as we had a far better view than you did at home, thanks to the salad of the linesman.
He's got to get his positioning a little bit better than that, doesn't he? Think of the viewers.
Yeah, certainly.
Up steps Bomford. She scored from a free kick, and she can't score from the penalty spot. Good save. Chambers following up, also denied. And a big double save from Gardner. And after laying in a bit of a soft one in the first half, more than redeems herself there and keeps the score at 3-0. A good double save this. Gets back up and reacts to shut down Chambers as well.
Yeah, it's a good save from Gardner. Went the right way initially, but got down low. Strong palm. Chambers running in. Had the second opportunity, but now Williams, she wanted to cross it first time. Spotted the run of Bomford, who'd peeled out. Bomford gets her head up. It's Russell, wants to play the 1-2. Well read by Rubikova, who'll start the break for the Lions. Nearly hits it to Davis, but Lazinski read it well. Will go out for a throw on halfway. Been impressed with the performance of Rubikova for the Lions here this afternoon, and seen a great deal of it this season. Putting in a very industrious performance in the centre of the park, playing the box-to-box midfield type role. Teal sends it out to Lazinski, gets the return ball. Doesn't have really anywhere to go at the moment. There's Phoebe Teal. Hollington gets a toe in, but eventually they'll be able to spread it out wide. They'll do well just to stretch the play a bit here. At the moment, the Warriors. Minnie Michael gets a head up, wants an option. Not really forthcoming, so she'll just take the ball for a dribble herself. Back to Bomford. Spies the run of Chambers. Dadswell intercepts. Knocks it out for a throw. Shutting down all the passing lanes for Minnie Michael there, the Lions. Not allowing any penetrating through balls. That looks like an absolute toey there from Lazinski. Effective enough to Chambers, who'll slide the ball through, but that'll fall for Gardner rather comfortably. Back out wide through to Smith. To Rubikova, turning on the ball. It's Captain Clifford. Wanting an option out wide and getting one here, the Lions. Menadue trying to push forward. Quick throw in taken as far as Watkins flicks it on in the direction of Davis, who gets a toe in, but coming across well. There's Lazinski just shutting down the angle. Just getting her body in between the ball and the goalkeeper. Can sometimes deflect into the own net there for a defender's worst nightmare, but done well on occasion. There's Lazinski. Now to Williams. Chambers wants to get on a bike. She is onside. Gardner thought about coming out. She took a few steps back and both hesitated, and Gardner just got there in time. I think Chambers had the wheels on Gardner as she hesitated and dropped back a tad. Just at the very last second, Gardner got there.
Yeah, just about doing enough there, the Kingborough keeper. As Chambers got there first. We never had a chance of just rounding it. Making it number 4 as this one's cleared away, just held up and then sat for Bomford. Ran straight into 3 lines though. Pride of lines there in the midfield, but Bomford skips around him on this occasion. Now springs Davies, who just punches this one over the top. Couldn't quite keep that one down enough to trouble Gardner. Just getting under it a little as the Warriors continue to search for this 4th goal. To Smith, and unable to keep that one in. Lions really looking to press up, get themselves out before they can get boxed in by this Olympia team with the wind at their backs. 3-goal lead, looking pretty comfortable in this one. Laura Davis does well to win it back though, and she turns and takes off. She's got some support on the outside, heads that way. Wallington unable to track it in the end. Laura Davis just drawing a crowd in the middle there, trying to spark something, but it's just really not happening for the Lions today here, Paul.
No, it's certainly not. It was the right option there from Davis, as everyone had eyes for her, expecting her for the solo run, but just couldn't quite find her teammate in Ollington. It's Teal now sizes up an option. But, nice bit of landscaping that was being done earlier on the tree. As the safety hazard now being used for the bonfire here this afternoon at the Warriors, and given the overcast and soon to be cool conditions, that's a very good reuse of those materials as the ball runs out of play at the canteen end. And will do nicely down there for the punters watching, those sticking around for the NPL game on after this.
Yeah, double header here today at Warrior Park. Do stick around for that one. Of course, last time the Lions and Warriors met in the NPL, one of the games of the decade, let alone the season. Absolutely stunning scenes there with that late Olympia Warriors rally, turning a 2-0 deficit into a 3-2 win. One of the more extraordinary games I've certainly seen.
I've rarely been convinced of a result happening at the 80th minute mark that didn't end up happening. At the 80th minute mark, I thought for all money that was just going to cruise to steady 2-0 victory to the Lions after they were ahead, and even though they were down to 10 men, I thought they had it in the bag, but somehow Jordan Scott pulled that one out of the fire. And just a moment of inspiration from Warriors centre mid, one of the favourites for the Mitzi medal coming up in a few weeks, although fortunately I do think someone from up north is going to have something to say about that.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting account, that one. Of course, we've seen surprises in that award down the years, so you don't know what to expect, but certainly you'd imagine that Scott would be in the running for that one. And as we mentioned on the women's side of things, Maddie Chambers is surely going to be a lead contender for the Super League equivalent, and plenty of wins to be picking up votes in, that's for sure. So dominant have Olympia and the Zebras been, as Kingborough beaten statewide cup finalists this year, finished fourth in the Super League. Another year really, which I think if you put it in the perspective of look back 5 years ago, they've really come along in leaps and bounds. I mean, they were the easy beats there for a while, Kingborough. They were certainly had a couple of seasons there where the results were not pretty, but it's all been building to developing a young side, and I think we've seen with their 2 appearances in that statewide cup final. Whilst in the Super League, they've still lacked a little bit of consistency. Their best is as good as anyone.
Yeah, I mean, if you can have a cup final result and send numerous players to represent the state at junior tournaments like they have done this year, I think it's a big tick for the Lions. They've, as you mentioned, come on leaps and bounds, lost a couple of experienced players towards the end of the season, but a lot of these players have now had another full Super League season under their belt. I guess the worry for teams like Kingborough is just keeping that cohesive team together, as Hollington's managed to get on the ball, but hits it right at Farrow, pouncing on the pressure applied to Lazinski. Turned the ball over, but just hit it straight at Jenna Farrow. Probably the best opportunity for the Lions here this afternoon. Just robs Lazinski of the ball, charges into the box. And you can see she was trying to pick out that side netting, but Farrow stood tall, watched the eyes, and a comfortable save. As Chambers picks the ball up in the centre of the park. Good challenge in the centre there from Clifford. Lays it out to Rubikova. Eventually concedes the throw in.
Really good technique from Jenna Farrow on that save too. Perfect position. Got across to it nicely. Been a real find for the Warriors this year. Very impressive with their exploits in net so far this season. There's Charlotte Chambers on the ball now. Across to Russell. Coughs it up though to Moore. Just played it in behind Davis, who at the exact moment ready to run in the opposite direction as Williams just strokes it through for an offside. Maddie Chambers here, who's unaware of it as she storms into the box here, but had just strayed a fraction early there. Pretty good view of that one from our spot. Flag was up very quickly, just caught cheating out the back a little there. Was Chambers.
Yeah. 8 players from the Lions in that NTC Challenge squad earlier this year, which is, especially when that was the most by one team by a country mile in that squad, shows how good their youth development's been, and they have certainly applied pressure to, I think, most of the top 3 sides ahead of them this season. As Davis gets on the ball, tries to go the return to Wellington. Good body movement there from Bodford. Just putting herself between the player and the ball and winning the foul. Expertly done there.
Yep, just stepped in, knew that I'm going to get clobbered in the back of the leg here, but we'll get the relieving free kick. It's just good game awareness there from Olivia Montford. Just as soon as she got front position, was always going to get the free kick. Just purely works it to Williams. Williams chips it over the top. Chambers, I think, might have been offside anyway. Ball not getting through to her. So just the way she put her hands up immediately indicated she certainly thought she was offside. Clifford. Cross. She goes to Rubikova. Purely unable to keep it in her side's possession. Throwing down the line, looking for Watkins. Innocent Michael thinks she's played it off of Watkins, and indeed she has. So the throw-in will go the way of Olympia.
Kingborough Lions men's side not minding the pump-up music either.
Yeah, you can certainly hear that coming through. It's blasting now.
It's coming through upstairs and then through the headphones. It's certainly got it at a nice loud volume.
Well, perhaps they're going to be fired up for this second one. This doubleheader at Warrior Park.
I must be getting old. I can't recognise the song offhand. Farrow comes across to take. The Warriors also just with the 2 players on the bench here this afternoon. Darcy Quinn, who we've seen a bit of so far this season. One of them, as that ball's going to fall out of play surely. Chambers trying to fool the referee there.
It's around the grounds, Ulverston leading Clarence 6-0 up at Ulverston. Just a stone's throw away at Wentworth Park in the MPL. Launceston City 1-0 ahead of Clarence. And over at KG5, it's Glenorchy Knights leading the Hobart Zebras 2-1. And tight developing contest there. There's a plethora of 2:30 kickoffs we've got here this afternoon as Williams picks the ball up, just tries to send this one in behind, but defended away well enough in the end by Menadue. She's going to have to do so again here, and she works it further afield. Edwards was in there. And out the back for Christabella Moore. Wasn't quite on the same page as Watkins, however, and purely should be able to stop that, although some pressure being applied by Davis. Would be doing it pretty comfortably here, and I think they'll just want to get through to the 90th minute without an injury or a card, just to throw a spanner in the works for next week.
Well, that's what I was about to bring up with the subs earlier. Just would you take someone like Chambers off? Just to not risk it?
Yeah, well, I would. But
I mean, if you had to pick 2 players to take off, in this situation, I'd probably take off Chambers, definitely.
Yeah, probably Chambers and maybe Bomford in the midfield. I think there's probably a fair case for someone like a Sophie Lazinski being really important for next week's 2, but probably less likely to be injured in this game, as Chambers just doing what Matty Chambers does, and he's just leaving defenders in a wake and sliding across to Charlotte Chambers, and it's 4-0. The Chambers combine to find the next goal for Olympia. Another surging run down the left from Matty Chambers, finished off by Charlotte, and 4-0 it is to the Warriors.
Yeah, it's a lovely run for Matty Chambers. Looks where she picks that ball up well inside her own half. Beats one, running at the other defender. Decides, I can go past you down the wing. Does so with relative ease. Chambers gets a head up. Good positioning by Charlotte Chambers. Open wide net. Cops a knock at the end, which doesn't quite cause a celebration, but she will relieved to get that goal on the board. We will see a double sub from the Warriors, and we'll see how much we know.
Very little.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That looks like Phoebe Teal coming off. I didn't quite see who the first player coming off was. It's certainly not Chambers, Lazinski, or Bomford, who we just predicted might come off. So Alistair Russell's got different ideas to us.
Yeah, he's not putting the cue in the rack. More aggressive manager than us, perhaps, Paul. Gone safety first. He's just wants them to keep going here and head into next week in some good form.
Maybe he's aiming for like a 20-0 win. You never know.
Oh, also, there's very little chance Matty Chambers gets injured if she keeps running metres away from every defender trying to catch up.
You or I can have a first attempt at the other sub. It's not Darcy Quinn that's just come on in terms of pronunciation, because I'm going to butcher it. And it's Davies. Can't quite find a teammate. Now falls to Sammy Watkins. Running down the wing. Watkins into the 18-yard box, but Michael gets a toe in to prevent it falling to Rubikova. Back to Pewley. Now Davies looking for the run of A. Chambers. It'll fall to C. Chambers, who takes a good first touch. Gardner just coming out to collect. Awkward angle. Did get it to just about sit for it at Charlotte Chambers.
I'm going to go with Pinkerwiz.
Okay.
But that's probably way off.
Yeah.
Very Polish kind of name.
Yeah, it is very Polish.
Pinkerwiz. Pinkerwiz.
I mean, there's just so many Lazinskis who've played football down the years in Tasmania that one just rolls off the tongue, where Don't know about that one. Pinky Vich. There's a poll. We need some.
Pinky Wish.
Yeah, it's more of a Vij when you get that CZ. Anyone got Lucy Zelich on speed dial?
Let's just go with Monique. There's another Monique out there. Much easier. We'll definitely need that one. We need the phonetics guide on team sheets.
Yeah, definitely do.
Make life a lot easier as Isabella DeSmith stands over this one and swings it in straight onto the head of Innie Michael. Repels away to Charlotte Chambers, who just went right on back to Innocent Michael. Now Williams sent it wide, but too wide for Maddie Chambers to do anything with. I think maybe just a little bit tight. Didn't want to make another one of those bursting runs down the left.
Maybe she's just self-preserving for next week. When she realised the coach won't do it for her, she might just take matters into her own hands. And throw in flicked on by Moore. Bomford with ease and grace goes past two players and looks to find Chambers, but Dadswell gets a toe in. Gardner, not the greatest clearance, but it'll fall to a teammate. Good challenge from Bomford on Rubikova. Chambers trying to turn the defender. DeSmith goes safety first. As Moore puts a foot on the ball, lays it to Dadswell. Long ball looking for Davis, but Williams cuts it out. Davis still running at Lazinski, back to Farrow. Not a great clearance. Falls straight to a Lions player, but not the most convincing shot on goal there from Edwards. It's now Purley who's moved to centre mid position. The right back. Davies knocks it down the line. Davies gets it back. Looking to run at Clifford. Goes inside one. Gets it towards Chambers with a nice touch, but fortunately Gardner out to collect. Olivia Gardner. Now the wind's died down, so that shouldn't be a factor with this goal kick. Lazinski off the shin pad. Towards Michael. MP gets the ball. Davies trying to roll the defender. Not on this occasion. Taking a throw in down the line towards Davies. Heaved up, but only as far as Davis, who tries to flick it on for herself. Battling away with Innie Michael. Been composed at the heart of defence here this afternoon. Chambers to Bomford. Long raking ball towards Maddie Chambers. Had the sun in her eyes, so it came from a standing start, and that was ultimately that slight little bit of difference between keeping that ball in play and not. It was the landscaping end of Warrior Park. Dadswell will take the throw. Long only falling to Williams. We'll then give it to Bomford and say, where should you spray the pass today, Olivia? Goes towards Chambers. Well cut out by DeSmith. Now Davis holding the ball up well against Michael. Davies getting a toe in. And just deflected off the Kingborough Lions player. Out for the Warriors' throw. Bomford turning out of trouble and laying it to Lazinski. Good possession there from the Warriors. Now it's Quinn to Williams. Davies trying to hold her run. Fall to Watkins. Gets past Williams, who tracks back well. He gets in the defender's way. Eventually the Warriors clear it. That's going to set Davies an ambitious task, but one she's up for and forced an errant clearance from Clifford. DeSmith bails her out on this occasion. Manaju with a good ball. Makers spaces more. Now Rubikova. Ollington and Davis waiting for the through ball, and Lazinski sticks a leg out. Nancy Williams. Not quite anticipating the return ball there from Bomford. Bomford saying, well, you should. Rubikova. Down the line to Watkins. can't quite keep the ball in. Sammy Watkins there doing a good job down the wing. A name I'll be looking at more in the week for NFL-related purposes.
Considering spending a bit of capital on Sammy Watkins, though, Paul.
I'd be 15th round at best.
Late round flyer.
Yeah, I've already got my late round 15th flyer sorted. There's Moore striding into the box, beats one. Christabella Moore, the outside of the right. She wanted to hit that on the right, maybe an extra touch and just open the body. In the end, another save for Farrow. Quinn. Yep. Charlotte Chambers, purely Davies begging for it on the grandstand side of the ground, and eventually will receive it, but not quite in the attacking position she wants. In the end, she actually lets Monique have it. Charlotte Chambers trying to turn the defender. Hits it on the volley. Will win a corner for her side.
No, I think she
No.
just sliced it.
Oh, well, there's my mulligan for the day.
Did seem like the defender had the positioning right for the block, but it wasn't actually required in the end. Just cut a little too underneath the ball there, Charlotte Chambers. Quite the finish she applied to the Maddie Chambers cross a few moments ago. Kingborough trying to play their way out from the back here, keeping along the deck, but the Warriors just condensed the field, push up, win it back. Chambers got the sun in her eyes and then slipped. Not the most graceful of moments there. I think she was quickly back to her feet, thankfully. Got the double whammy there as Sam Watkins, I mean, we'll get him behind a Monique there, but Lozinski comes across, clatters it away. And it might turn into a pretty good through ball too for Chambers, who apparently was offside. Pretty well done in the end by the fullback to keep stride for stride with her, if that was the case. Certainly can't say I was looking at that part of the field when the defensive blast was played, so no idea. We'll trust the official.
Yeah, I'm inclined to say she was offside, but I only sort of had half an eye on it as I was going around the grounds. Score was pretty much the same as when you last gave them, Andrew. Lonnie sitting now 2-0.
No, it's now 3-1, that one. There's been 3 goals in 3 minutes at Wentworth Park.
That's where all the goals have gone to on the Eastern Shore since half time here. As Chambers looks up. Charlotte Chambers wants it short. The return ball wasn't the greatest. And Rubikova now playing it to Edwards. Spying the diagonal run of Davis. Battles away with Michael. Back to Clifford. Gets around one and just purely gets there in time. Purely versatile play moving into the centre of the park. Chambers. Moore. Now Bomford. Tries to spray the ball out to Maddie Chambers, but a bit too close to the keeper on this occasion. Gardner, I think, quite got the purchase she wanted on that one. Bomford just dropping the shoulder and leaving 2 lines for dead, and then plays a lovely ball to Maddie Chambers, who stayed on side. Ball rolling a bit too far out, but she'll come and collect. Resuming the battle with Dadswell, and then probably plays the worst pass she's played all game. Maddie Chambers. A rare error in a day where, for mine, she's in the mist on ground. Williams beats out Rubikova. Chambers. Oh, lovely bit of skill there, and it's just shirt pulled there by Dadswell, finally taking the opportunity to use the slice of cheese she's had up her sleeve for the first 73 minutes. Probably the most obvious shirt pull you'll ever see. Chambers showing a great bit of skill there. Almost the Cruyff-esque type move. It's now to be Bomford over this free kick. Will she fancy another one high over the head of Gardner, or will she try and find a teammate? There's Olivia Bomford with a low ball, and Chambers had made the run. It wasn't the most convincing free kick. Long ball forward by Rubikova. Davis was on the other side of the pitch. Yeah, it's all very compressed at the moment at Warrior Park. Chambers can't find a teammate. Now Smith will go for a run. Michael bodied up with Davis and managed to clear.
Throw down the line. Gain them a few more yards. The Lions searching for a late consolation goal here. Olympia far too strong on the day. They will go back to the top of the Super League table ahead of the Hobart Zebras clash with South Hobart tomorrow. And a win there would mean we'd go into the final day with the Zebras holding the edge. A draw would be good enough for them in that game with Olympia. Were South Hobart to get any other result, draw or a victory, it'd be a fair upset, but that would change things and it would be Olympia who would only need the draw, but more than likely they're going to need to defeat them, which they did at the last time of asking. We were here for that one, Matty Chambers exhibition really, just as it has been today. And a 3-0 win. I think the Zebras have certainly picked up since that day. Their last month has been pretty ominous. The Warriors probably not been quite as firing on all cylinders as they were earlier in the year, but be an intriguing game, that's for sure. Next Saturday, KG5, as this one slid through, trying to spring Christabella more, but couldn't quite get on the end of it. One's hammered out of there. Bonnie Davies will turn. Making a pace up against Menadue. To the final 15 minutes of this one now, of course. First of a double-header. These two teams will meet in the MPL as well, as Monique just blasts a volley into Clifford. No danger of that handball and no chance to react. Bomford now on the turn. Might win a side of corner as this one deflects behind. Indeed, she does.
That was hit with some power, from not far out right. To Phoebe Clifford. Back there for that corner routine. Purely misses on the challenge and goes back for another bite. Does well to hold up. As Edwards goes to Rubikova, who manages to foul Bomford. Pressure relieved on this occasion. A pretty obvious foul committed by the Lions. And as Lazinski will take. Bomford managing to win the ball on this occasion. Moore still going as far as Williams. Bomford tries to get the ball down. Chambers just about stayed on side of Maddie Chambers. Williams striding forward now. Charlotte Chambers wants a midfield option, but none were really forthcoming. Bit of confusion. She's getting a little sloppy here at Warrior Park. 12 minutes to go. Can't imagine there'll be a great deal of stoppage time at the end of this one. And there's Quinn. Back to Williams. More for company. It's a lovely looking ball. Through to Monique. Next to Davies. Gets a head up. It should be kept in play. It is down in the corner. Cross. Well blocked. Purely. Eventually the Lions just see it out. As Phoebe Clifford drops to her haunches behind play. Referee will do well to check on the situation, as he's about to. As we will need the medic brought on. Another situation of this happening for the Lions. Some of their most promising youngsters, and Clifford and Tatton, have needed a look some checks, and in almost the exact same time as well. Both sides will have a drinks break. The Lions will be facing Clarence next week for their final game. All the talk of, obviously, all eyes will be on the Warriors Zebras game. In addition, for as well, you'll have Lions, Clarence, and Olvie South Hobart for those up in the northwest. Looks like she'll be right to continue. Will Clifford, I didn't quite see what caused the incident. It wasn't quite as an obvious as one as the one on Tatton earlier.
Tough doing a concussion test staring directly into the sun too. I reckon that might skew results a little bit.
Just a tad.
I think slightly more.
Can you open your eyes? Well, no.
External factors at play. Let's hope she's all right. Of course, we've already seen Emil Tatton forced out of this one, which was a real shame because she had been pretty lively in the first half hour or so for her team. Very talented young player, Emil Tatton. Very impressive over the past couple of seasons in the Super League. The chemistry she has with Davis in attack has been a real feature of the Lions. Not sure quite what's going on with our picture here, but hopefully we'll be back in a second as Davis gets on the ball. Just trying to fix the focus on the camera, I would suggest looking at that. Anyway, and St Michael has the ball at the back for the Warriors and strokes it across here. Quinn. He goes forward. That's a dangerous looking ball for Chambers, who was battling away with Christabella Moore dropping back to do the defensive work there. Hard working player, Jade Williams now looking to swing this one over the top for Chambers, who had strayed offside there. Perhaps just getting a little bit tired, and with the game in tow, maybe not quite working back as hard as he might have in the first minute.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge amount offside. Maddie Chambers, just sort of the half of a body offside, but it was just enough. As felt like I was entering an underwater rave there for a minute there with our camera positions there, just with the kind of ounce at the same beat and zooming in and out. It was not bad. As Edwards tries to find Davis. As far as purely Chambers, you can just see trying to peel off the shoulder of the fullback still, but through ball not eventuating. Now to Smith, with plenty of time to size up an option. Get the ball back. Seasonally hot day here in Hobart today, about 18 degrees in the end of August. As Chambers, I think, is just time to run to perfection on this occasion. Chambers running at the byline, 3 in the box to aim for, one of which is purely, and it's hit at an awkward height. Davies will rise high, and eventually, somehow, that just fell right into the arms of Olivia Gardner without having to move. Bombs it long in the Watkins direction. Just with the sun in her eyes there. Michael looking to go on a run herself. Chambers is about 2 yards offside on that occasion. Smith. As far as Rubikova with the raking ball, looking for the run of Davis. Laura Davis running into the box, trying to take on the defender, and cuts it back. Lazinski can't get there, neither can Watkins. I think she's hit that wide, has Watkins. That is the decision given. It was Davis charging into the box. It's probably the best opportunity of the match for the Lions.
Probably could have got a penalty if she went down there too, I reckon there. Laura Davis, I'm definitely away from the body of the Warriors defender there, but not really the type to hit the deck when she's still got a chance to charge on. Really determined type, Laura Davis. And ended up putting a pretty good chance in for Watkins, who couldn't quite direct it on target. They've had a few chances here this afternoon, but on the whole, it's been pretty much a one-way traffic. The Warriors in well and truly the better side is Hamilton just sorting something out on the touchline there, just waiting to get the ball back, I think. Eventually the throw in will be taken. Final 5 minutes of regulation here. Have we got any further scoring to take place? It's Amy Ollington here for the Lions with chance to strike one, and it's a pretty good save from Farrow. Turns it past the post.
No.
Really?
Guarantee it.
Just spun, did it?
Yeah. Had the post covered.
Oh, yeah, that's just a good
Very good
break.
leave. Very good leave there from Farrow. Just knew where the post was and pulled the right hand out of the way at the last moment.
Lovely bit of leg spin on that shot,
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. Tell you what, 85 minutes, we haven't even brought up the cricket yet once. It's weird.
I think we got most of that out of our systems talking with a certain Englishman who was sitting next to us quite nicely when we came in here.
Allowed us to get it all out of our system and focus on the football ahead of us.
Oh, we say that there's 2 Englishmen playing in this next match. I'd be pretty shocked if it doesn't get a bit of a reference
Oh, yeah.
in the MPL.
If they shank one, it's another nick towards David Warner. There's Chambers back to Bomford. Now out to Quinn. Looking to bomb forward. There's Nancy Quinn. Williams this time making the run down the left wing. Gets it right to DeSmit. Chambers covering for Williams at the moment. And Bomford. Just a sea of white around her and still manages to pick out a pass. Chambers wanted it purely. Now Davies. Chance to run at the defence. Again, very good work there from Manaju, who after a difficult first 15 minutes has played really, really well against Bonnie Davies, I think, this afternoon. One of the players in that NTC Challenge squad from the Lions. And whilst Chambers has run rampant down on the other wing, Davies hasn't had a whole lot of action this afternoon so far. Full credit to the defender. In the corner, comes in Williams. Eventually cleared by Rubikova. Now Quinn. Chambers is straight offside here for the moment. No, not according to the AR. Williams. Now out to Maddie Chambers. Crosses the ball in first time. It surely hands in the back on Clifford. Indeed, that height difference there. Hands all over the back of Clifford there by Charlotte Chambers. And just we have 2 to 3 minutes to go here at Warrior Park. Ulverston, I think, now up to 8. And the other Super League fixture on at the moment. Against Clarence's. That ball's cheaply turned over and just touched in front of Maddie Chambers. More coming across to cover. Chambers jinks inside, gets around one defender and tried to cut it back to Pewley. Edwards knew exactly what Chambers was wanting to do there. Clears it as far as Williams. Bomford. Seems like Watkins has gone up top for the moment. Davis moved out to the wing for the Lions. Still going is Quinn. Now Bomford. Lining up another mazy run. Bomford still on the ball, and what a challenge. Ooh, given as a free kick. I thought that was a fantastic challenge there from Moore. Maybe just got a little bit more of the player than I thought initially. Sliding in. And gets the ball. I still think that's a fantastic challenge. Maybe that's just the defender in me.
Yeah, it seems a little harsh anyway. Olivia Bomford, very much in her range. She's already scored one from a similar type distance, albeit Gardner would like to have that one back. But you'd imagine Bomford will try and test the keeper again here. And she does just that. And again, the keeper with fingertips to it, but can't keep it out. And it's in the back of the net, 5-0. A 5-star performance from the Warriors here this afternoon. They've done it comfortably. And they will head into that final day showdown with the Zebras, filled with confidence. But again, it's one that Gardner needs to be doing a little bit better on.
Yeah, maybe just trusting the ball a tad more and being a little bit more to the open side of the goal there from Gardner. But Bomford, very good at getting free kicks on target is Olympia Bomford. She's had a really, really good game at the centre of the park, just controlling things at all times. As now Charlotte Chambers wants to get her second. Likes to pass to Maddie Chambers on this occasion. As we are into stoppage time, I reckon. I guess it'll be about 1 minute added on, maybe 2 at most. Mini Michael. And Davies. Michael. Cleared by Clifford. Michael had no idea where that one ended up after it coming off her back. Cleared by Clifford. As far as Menadue. Stay out for a throw. Probably the last action of the match coming up here. Bomford turning one way, then trying to go past Clifford. That one's lofted high. Gardner should comfortably collect that one. Not the greatest pass there from Rubikova. Probably been one of the line's better players here this afternoon. It'll be Quinn. Staring straight into the sun.
Penny Chambers trying for one last little highlight reel moment here as she drills into the box and punches one in. Pewley's bobbed up there, the fullback, and nearly finds the top window too. That wasn't far away. The right back, Pewley, just charging forward, sensing the chance to get it on the act here. And Chambers forged a pretty good chance for her. She was off balance. And in the end, I think the keeper just letting that one fly over the top. Nearly a sixth for the Warriors, and you couldn't say it wouldn't be undeserved. They've been pretty dominant throughout the afternoon here. Barring a major upset tomorrow, you'd imagine we'll head into next week. It's a must-win game with the Zebras. With a fair bit of confidence, but it's ended 5-0 here at Warrior Park this afternoon. There's been some close games between these sides in season 2019. This was not one of them. I think the absences of Horgan and Manuela were particularly telling today. They were belted in the midfield and just had no answers for this Warriors attack. A 5-0 win, a pretty comfortable one, and the stage is set for a huge final day showdown, Paul.
Yeah, very excited for next weekend's deciding matchup. But yeah, as you say, Warriors pretty much from about the 3rd minute onwards controlled this game on their terms. Bomford and Maddie Chambers in particular, star performers. Charlotte Chambers also coming in with a goal as well for the Lions. Plenty to work on for next year, but as we mentioned, they should be pretty happy with their 4th place performance in the league this year. One more game to go for them, but unfortunately of the matchups they've had with the Warriors this year, probably the biggest blowout of the lot, I reckon. Beating them in the cup, but the Warriors getting revenge here and a thoroughly deserved victory, and Warriors looking forward to next weekend.
Yeah, pretty hard to beat on this home track here at Warrior Park, Olympia. Their record pretty phenomenal in 2019 here. Been a much better side, home versus away. They'll have to do it on the road next week though. KG5, the venue where we see cup finals held, and it'll have a real cup final feel about it. We will be there to live stream that one for you as well. It should be an absolute cracker. Do join us for that. But next up is about, what do we got here, 35 minutes at the 10-minute customary delay for an NPL Tas game, about 45 minutes away from another match coming right to you between these same two clubs. It'll be Olympia and Kingborough in the NPL Tasmania to follow. Stick around for that one. We'll be on in about 30 minutes' time.